Hey guys, what's going on? I just wanted to do another video commentary and elaborate a little bit on some things that I mentioned in my previous video. I thought it would be a good opportunity to go over how I like to structure my training and some considerations to keep in mind if you're looking to do the same. So, in that last video, I mentioned that I'm currently alternating between the safety squat bar and the front squat. So I kind of have an A workout and a B workout. And I think that alternating between 2 and potentially 3 different workouts does a couple different things for us. The first being that it gives us enough variety in exercise selection to avoid staleness and boredom in training. And that's going to be beneficial for obvious reasons, right? If you're bored with your training, you're probably not getting the most out of it. And that might make you think that you need to do more and have more variety, but that can be taken too far as well. And that leads me into my second point, which is that alternating between multiple workouts allows us to do the movements enough times throughout a training block to accurately and more precisely track progress. So if we are doing, something different each and every time that we go into the gym, I think that that's going to be really hard to track progress. You have too many variables, and it's going to be hard to identify and determine what things are working for you and what things aren't working for you. So in a nutshell, alternating between 2 and potentially 3 different workouts kind of ensures that you have a good balance between variety and frequency throughout a training block. And having that squared away is a huge step towards optimizing your training. So once we have that squared away, we can kind of break down the individual sessions themselves. And I like to personally have a focus of the day. I like to either be hamstring and glute focused or quad focused. And really all that means is that I'm going to take a majority of my volume and I'm going to allocate it towards either quads or glutes and hamstrings. And I think that structuring training in this way just allows me another element of control as far as navigating fatigue throughout a training block, right? So if I have a big deadlift workout coming up, the leg session before that big pull day is probably not going to be very high volume on the hamstrings because I'm going to build up too much soreness and fatigue, and it's going to directly affect that upcoming deadlift session. So I'll probably go higher volume on the quads, lower volume on the hamstrings, do the big deadlift workout, and then follow it up with higher volume hamstring day. And this just allows you another element of control in your training as far as fatigue management. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how I like to structure my training. From that point, you can kind of pick and choose which exercises you like. That's really going to be kind of dependent on what your goal is personally. Like I mentioned before, I'm currently alternating between the safety squat bar and the front squat. And the reasons for that is that both variations of the squat require a tremendous amount of upper back strength and spinal erector strength to maintain that upright position. So I think that it's going to have a lot of carryover to movements that I switch to at a later point in time, as well as my physique as a bodybuilder due to the indirect back work that I get through having to stabilize the bar in such an awkward way between the safety squat bar and the front squat. So for those reasons, those are good exercise selections for me personally, dependent on my goal. I kind of have a rhyme and a reason for them and for choosing them. And I think that if you're going to go about doing your own training, you should also think critically in this way as well. And don't just do things just to do them. Make sure that there's a benefit to you and your goal personally. So far in this workout, you've seen me just kind of warming up. I'm just barely now starting to get into these front squats. Pretty much the same routine as far as warming up for the safety squat bar workout. The only difference here is that I incorporated some pause reps, and that was really just to kind of feel the bottom position a little bit more and turn on those stabilizing muscles involved with that bottom position. The front squat is honestly like the hardest squat variation for me, just because it's such a technical lift. It takes a lot of leg strength, obviously, to move the weight, but a lot of upper back strength to maintain that upright position with the bar across your clavicle like that. So this is a pretty technical lift, and why I've kind of avoided it in the past, because I don't feel like my legs are ever the weak link. Whatever I can hold across my delts and clavicle area, I can move with my legs. So I felt like my positioning with the bar and my upper body was always the weak link and the determining factor of whether or not I was going to get the lift or not. But nevertheless, this is my working set for this day. This is 290 for 8, I believe, and the last time that I rotated through the front squat workout, I think I did 280 for 8. So to see a 10-pound jump, it might not seem like a lot, but it is definitely progress, and it goes back to what I was mentioning at the beginning of the video as far as doing the movement enough times to accurately track progress. So, the last time that I rotated through the front squat workout, I did 280. This time I did 290. So I'm having, points in time where I can accurately track progress. And the next time that I rotate through the front squat workout, I'm going to be looking to do, 295 to 300 for 8. And I think that would be a win. And in this way, we kind of have a little bit more structure, a little bit more of predictability in training, and that's always a good thing. So after the top set of 8, I did, I think, 3 back off sets with 250. And again, that's just to kind of accumulate some more volume, get some more volume in. I threw in this side angle again to kind of show you the squat mechanics. Whether it's a safety squat bar, whether it's a front squat, it's still going to be, pretty much the same. I'm going to look to push the hips back and down. I'm kind of unlocking the hips and the knees at the same time and just squatting down. You'll notice that I end up with a pretty forward knee position, but that forward knee position comes a little bit later in the movement, and after I've kind of unlocked the hips. So after these working sets, for demonstration purposes, I, threw this clip in. These are kind of good reps right here. I'm kind of just unlocking the body, pushing the hips back and down. My knees come forward, but a lot later in the movement. This is an example of what we're trying to avoid as far as jamming the knees too far forward to initiate the movement and then not having anywhere for the hips to go, and you kind of have to round over to get additional depth, and there's just a ton of shear on the kneecap in that position when you put your knees too far forward to initiate the movement. So hopefully that demonstration kind of helped show you what we're kind of aiming for and what we're kind of trying to avoid. And I think that obviously people are built differently. Everyone's got different limb lengths, so people's squats are going to look a little bit different. If it looks a little bit more like what we're trying to avoid, that's okay. Your squat doesn't have to look exactly like mine. These are just some kind of extremes of the spectrum to kind of keep in mind, and just some general cues to try and keep in mind when you are squatting. So after the front squats, we went on to do some hamstring work. We did some RDLs on this particular day. I think I did a top set of 315, and then I did some back off sets with 225. I had wanted to record more sets, but my camera died, so I didn't get everything, but I did get these, which are some Nordic curls. It's like a reverse hamstring curl. And these are more challenging than they look. There's not a huge range of motion with these, but they are definitely challenging. And if you haven't tried them, it's a good go-to to kind of mix up if you get tired of the traditional kind of seated or standing or lying hamstring curls. So getting the setup down can be a little tricky, but overall a really good hamstring movement to go to. I think this last clip that I'm about to show you is just of me doing a leg press, pretty straightforward. Something to keep in mind with the leg press is not to lock the knees out. I always keep a slight bend in the knee. And I also do them, you know, kind of unilaterally, because it allows me to kind of target any imbalances that I might have, you know, between each of my legs, as well as not having to use as much weight. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.